Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Can we have a roll call, please?
Here.
I'm here.
Tom Jordan.
Here.
Stan Schmidt.
Here.
Jim White.
Here.
Lance Green. John Junko.
Here. And can we have consideration of minutes? Do I hear?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Roll call?
Maria Mills Burnett.
Yes.
Bill Goldhammer.
Yes.
Tom Jordan.
Yes.
Stan Schmidt.
Yes.
Jim White.
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes. Okay, first up is the case number 20-40000005, application PUD amendment, 7th amendment to the Bennett Hammock PUD.
Gwen Perney, planner. Okay. This is the, we're bringing this back to you. It's the 7th Amendment to the Bennett's Hammock PUD, MDA concept plan. The commission saw the previous plan, which was 13 townhomes back in March, which was recommended denial, and so the applicant went back and revised the plan to be a 6-lot detached single-family home development, which I have up on the screen here. The lots are generally consistent with the current lots in the neighborhood. The only policy issue at this point is the removing the sidewalk on the south side of Old Hammock Road, which is consistent with the neighborhood, and we discussed that at the last meeting. And staff is recommending approval of the 6-lot concept plan here. Any questions?
Newton, you want to start?
I am good for the moment.
Sam?
Nothing right now.
Tom?
I'm good, thanks.
Bo?
No.
Marie? Good. No, I'm good too.
Okay, the applicant is here if you have any questions for him.
Yep, come on up.
Good evening, Joey Posey, 420 South Nova, attorney for the applicant. I missed the monsoon warning, so
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
a little
that.
wet. Well, either way, I just want to give you a little background about what you're looking at in that, after the last meeting, we met with the neighbors again. Because, like I represented the last time, we're trying to work with these folks. We get that this is their community. I understand that. And obviously the owner understands that. So me and the engineer personally went out there. We hung out in the garage with them and we said, how do we make this, what is the plan that we can make work? Because what we heard was single family homes is what we want out here. So there is a representative from the HOA, I see her, and I don't want to misspeak, but we were all in agreement that the 6 homes is acceptable. That's consistent with their community. And a lot of it too is, you have single family out there, obviously I'm still of the opinion townhomes would still be a good product out there, but I get it, that if it's for the community and that folks can buy into what this plan is and that six unit homes, we can make it work. Because, we took away some of the infrastructure that was in the middle of the project, which makes this feasible, but we're right there on the border. But at least it's new blood. It'll be nice homes. We want to see them thrive too. And honestly, getting the situation worked out where that stormwater is actually improved on that site. That the new plan is less impervious. So you got more places for the stormwater to go, and you got a pond. So I imagine it's going to be better for those folks out there too. So I'm really happy that we got somewhere, and that these folks, they're very passionate about their community, and they're very reasonable. They understand that we know something will be there. Let's make it the best something we can. So if there's any questions from you guys, I'm happy to answer them. If there's any clarities that I can add. I just didn't want to go into, unless there's some specifics here, I didn't want to delve too deep into repitching the same thing. So.
Newton, you have any questions?
This still leaves the the lot or the part at the end, at the western end of the subdivision, that still leaves that undeveloped?
At the western end.
Are you
would be-
referring to the abandoned nursing home?
Yes.
That would be correct, because we don't control that property.
Yeah, that's an independent lot.
As much as I'd love to fix that one.
Okay.
But this probably does encourage somebody to do something, because if they see that there's homes going in, and, you know, it's not a crazy amount of homes that, okay, there's some people are investing in here, let's fix that up, and then, you know, maybe you can cull some of the, what I hear is some of the homeless problems they have out there, and, you know, it's kind of a rising tide type of situation, I would imagine, so.
All right, that's all I had.
Stan?
I have nothing.
Tom?
The only thing is, it appears, just from what I read, that you listened
Mhm.
and heard the strong encouragement of
Yes.
what the neighborhood wanted, and I think it works better in the city. My only disappointment was the lack of sidewalks. I think sidewalks are important in general. I understand what you're saying and not having them, but the overall project looks much better.
And I really appreciate that. And we did actually think about that sidewalk. It's, you know, trying to connect into that system would be very difficult. And, you know, again, it's the balancing of the impervious versus what we got there. And as much as I agree with you that, you know, sidewalks generally are a good thing, that this is one of those rare circumstances where if we can make the puzzle pieces fit a little bit,
Yeah.
that everybody comes out ahead. So.
Great, thanks. That's it.
Bo?
No questions. I think this is as good as it can get. And, you know, I think the plan looks feasible, and certainly it is aesthetically pleasing and blends with the community. So I think it's a good plan.
I appreciate it.
Maria?
No questions. I like this much better. Much better for the community as a whole in Port Orange, not just their community. But I was going to mention the sidewalks as well, because I was curious about that. But I love it when you guys listen.
I appreciate it. We try to. I know it may not seem that way sometimes, but, you know, especially, and you know Glenn as well as,
Yes.
you know, as we come through, we understand that this is their community, we want to listen, so, you know, it's, we live here too, so.
Yeah, I think this looks really good.
You good?
Yep.
Yeah, from this perspective, I think the developer made a lot of sacrifices to
Yeah.
please the residents. I think appraisal value of their homes being near townhouses was a concern.
Sure.
Now that you've changed it to single-family homes, you've kept the consistency of what the neighborhood looks like, and it'll continue to stay that way. So, I mean, now we got these 6 homes. I think it's a win-win for everyone. Overall, the final product's going to be a larger residential neighborhood. So, I'm very pleased with how you guys worked so close, and considering all the engineering you've done, you've worked pretty fast.
Yeah.
Based on these meetings and the drawings and the engineering. So I commend you in today's world, having that done so quickly. That's quite respectable. So
I really
yeah,
appreciate
no,
that.
very well organized and put together. I like it. So, anybody else? No? Do we have any questions from the public that would like to come up? Yes. Well, you'd have to come up here and give us your name and your address.
I'm April Blowers. I live at 1148 Meditation Loop in Port Orange. I do want to say that I do appreciate him and the engineers and everybody else working with us, even though we still don't want that property built on, but we have agreed that 6 homes are better than the 13 to 16 townhomes they were putting in. So it is a consensual through the whole neighborhood that it will be fine, as long as they work with us, as well as other issues that you guys don't need to know. But yes, we are very fine
Very
and
good.
comfortable
Very
with that.
pleased to hear that.
Thank you.
Nice. Very nice. Anybody else? Everybody good? I'd like to hear a motion to approve case number 20-400000005.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Maria Melchett,
Yes.
Bo Volkeny,
Yes.
Tom Jordan,
Yes.
Dan Schmidt,
Yes.
Newton White,
Yes.
John Junko.
Yes. Okay. Approved. Thank you very much. At this time, whoever's sitting here for this, you're welcome to leave. Avoid the rain. Okay,
Or wait
next
for the
is
rain.
case, I'll let them leave first. Yeah, you go wait it out. Next is case number 21-40000001. Let's see here. MDA amendment, third amendment to the Riverwalk amended and reinstate master development agreement.
Tim Berman, Community Development.
Hey, Tim.
So I think we've been here before. Basically, this is a request by the applicant who's currently developing the fish restaurant to extend the completion time frame from September 2021 to a March 2022 date then. Basically, I think everyone's been aware, driving up to the project there, it is under construction. The exterior walls along the first floor are constructed. We anticipate the steel for the second floor coming hopefully tomorrow, with that starting to go there, so you'll start to see more of the second floor going up along with the roof here in the near future. As we indicated, there is a deadline of September 2021 that's coming forward. The applicant can speak more to their construction time frame, but this amendment, we have to bring it forward now, just basically because of the time frame for a public hearing to go through the 3-month process. Then is kind of why we're bringing it forward. They do anticipate needing some additional time. That's why we're bringing it forward, but everyone is working on that project to move it along as quick as possible. In addition to the request for the 6-month extension, there's also a provision that basically, if this would be approved, the property owner or Halifax River Partners would demolish the 2 structures on the, we call the Days Pest Control property that's currently owned by the city of Port Orange. They would demolish those as part of the approval process then, and do the proper permitting for that. Also, too, the MDA would allow them to do some underbrushing, get rid of the invasive species. On that property too, there's a wooded area just south of the Days building then. So this would allow them the ability to clean that up. It benefits the city as that's a city-owned property, and also too, it opens the view corridor for the fish restaurant as that once that's open. And the third item as part of the MDA would be to allow for overflow parking to be located on the 2 condo pad areas. Those are basically shown on the graphics here as the areas in orange here. This would allow for overflow parking on Fridays and Saturdays. As a restaurant starts, we all know when a restaurant first opens, especially one that's going to be hyped like this one, there's going to be a lot of attraction draw to it then. So we anticipate overflow being needed on those Friday long weekend timeframes then. So we wanted to put that language in here so that gives us the flexibility. If we need to create the overflow parking, it can be done. So staff is recommending approval of the third amendment, subject to the additional text being added regarding the demolition of the Days property by the applicant, along with the addition of the overflow parking standards to be added to the MDA before that goes to City Council. The applicant is also here to further discuss the request.
Any questions, Newton?
Yes. Is there any part of this project, I believe there is, the trail that goes through here? Is that part of the project that will be being completed with fish, or is that at a later time?
You're talking about the trail that's currently along in front of it, or basically?
Yeah.
That's been constructed and built, and we accepted that, I believe, in 2019.
Okay.
So that's open to the public right now.
Is there any other public parts of this that are not yet constructed?
That's the main component, public park, and that was constructed and completed and approved. The rest of the improvements are the private side.
Okay, thank you.
Stan?
For now, I'll wait.
Tom?
So this is the project that was supposed to be done in 2019, and then it was extended till 2020, and then extended to 2021, and now 2022.
Correct.
And we're getting Dave's demolished for it. As a new, that's been added to this now.
That would basically, if staff's recommendation is to approve that, we spoke with the property owners or the applicant about that, and that would be accomplished, because as of right now, the city owns the property, and those buildings need to be demolished, so that's something the city would have to pay for. So as part of the approval, the applicant would do that at their cost, saving this money, city having a demolition that.
So what's the deadline for that to be done?
We put it in here, I believe it would be at the, prior to the CO of the restaurant.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Bo?
No, I'm disappointed it's being delayed again, but, because we're really getting hungry. Other than that, I don't have anything.
I mean, they can also speak to too, I've let them speak on to any of the construction delays that they've had for. But I do know, we've processed at least 2 amendments to their building plans as they basically have changed kind of the method and materials of construction so they can get a method and material that allow materials to be delivered quicker then. So we can speak since this started in February that we've been working well with the contractor and trying to make those changes to keep that timeline moving.
I imagine they're having labor problems along with everybody else as well, so it's nice to be understood.
That's what I was gonna say, I'm assuming it's construction material and labor delays and every other kind of delay that everybody else on the planet's dealing with right now. So we'll just expect, first rights to sit and eat. First seating.
Maria, do you have anything to say? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll throw something at you.
That's why I have these shields now. I like them.
I can go around.
They're gonna go.
Thank God. I don't have any questions, I just assume it's.
Yeah,
because of that.
I think some of us here in the real estate and the construction industry sympathize with what the delays are. I personally am witnessing them as a contractor. And the sad thing is, what's affecting the delays are also affecting cost, materials. I just had metal roof go up 20%, and while the time we were waiting to order the metal, it went up again. So then the material cost went up again while we were waiting for the material originally. So surveyors are not taking any more work. They're actually refusing any work. So as far as the delays, I mean, we see progress. We see the contractor committed to showing the walls are going up. A lot of foundation work has been established. I walk up there on the weekends with my dogs and I see it taking place. So I understand that, and I know it's an awful frustration to a contractor getting hit with these delays, especially during these times, but I am sympathetic to them, and I know at this point in time, because I see something happening, I know it'll get done, and I'm personally looking forward to going there quite often, actually. So that's my share of venting. Do we have anyone in the public that likes to come up, or we have the applicants? Yeah, we'll probably hear what they have to say.
Jeff Brock, 444 Seabreeze Boulevard, Suite 900, Daytona Beach, Florida, representing the developer, Joe Tanasowski, who's here today. As you guessed, we are experiencing construction delays, both labor and materials. To give you an example, we originally had a design for a truss. When we priced it and the timing was going to be 7 months, we went back and redesigned, and now we're having steel beams. Of course, we're still waiting for the steel beams, but it'll be a way that we've been trying to shorten this construction time frame. Nobody dislikes a delay more than the developer. Time is money. He's got construction funds out there, loan funds out there. The contractors are having difficulty with labor and materials, as the people in the industry know that. I'm not telling them anything you don't already know. We don't expect it to take until the extension date to finish. We're not taking our foot off the gas. Right now, there was a provision in the MDA. If we got it dried in September, we could ask for a 6 months extension. So we're just basically asking for that extension now. And then the quid pro quo is we will demolish Dave's, which is kind of a win for both of us. You all can use it for parking during your events, for fireworks and family days and et cetera. So we think it's a win-win, but again, it is frustrating to have a delay, and I understand that, and we've talked about that in the past. So nobody is more displeased than the developer.
Newton, do you have anything to say?
I'm just disappointed. I've been disappointed with the Riverwalk concept and project for the last 20-plus years. I've been disappointed in the recent, 4 or 5 years that Mr. Jordan mentioned, that the delay, waiting till the last month to come and ask for an extension, and then not build anything, and then have to build the part of the trail that the developer was responsible for, and even this delay. And I understand, believe me, in real estate, I understand people getting told that, yeah, we can sign a contract today to build you a new house, but you won't be able to live into it in it for 9 months to a year. I understand about waiting months to get windows and materials, but you just said something that struck me. You've got walls up, and you're working on getting the trusses to put in for your second floor, and realize you got to go to steel beams. At this stage in the construction,
That
you're
wasn't a
doing-
recent change.
Okay, but at this stage in the construction, it sounds like you're redesigning the building, and that, honestly, I would have thought should have been done months ago. And
It
we
was.
should have been here for this extension and saying months ago that, hey, we're in trouble in getting this building up. And that disappoints me. It doesn't mean I'm gonna not approve of this. I'm voicing my frustration and my disappointment in it, and I hope that we don't repeat this again in a few months. Period.
Yeah, to add to Newton, putting together in a proper timeline, I'm guessing your feedback from the trust company immediately put you into a different path to try to get the metal
Right,
support.
right, and that was months ago.
That was months ago. Then you had to go to an architect to draw the whole thing for a revision to submit to the city.
Right.
So what you're talking and putting on our desks right now, the process was literally 4 months ago, about.
Mhm.
Yeah. And when was it submitted for revision?
Do you know that date, Tim, with the beams?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is brought on our desk now, but it took many, many months
Yeah.
to get to this point. So in an effort to sympathize with him, I
I-
understand your frustration.
I sympathize.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying I would have liked to have had this meeting a month or two ago instead of
Well,
coming to the deadline.
here's the dilemma. When they did the metal, they didn't know it was gonna take this long. So they took steps months ahead of time to try to keep it on a schedule. But then when the delays came in, they're here now.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm on your boat. I lived this.
I mean, one of the
so I
other
get
one
it.
of the
I
other
get it.
delays was the kitchen equipment contractor, supplier, or whatever didn't give you the specs in time. So I mean, this is.
I voice your frustration.
I
do.
understand the delays.
I
I understand the
understand it.
materials, the acquisitions and stuff. I get all of that. I'm just getting. I wish it would be a little bit sooner. Coming to the bench and asking.
He's hungry too.
Yeah. The,
I want
for
a
what,
good
for
fish
what it's
sandwich.
worth, we did meet with, we did
he's
meet with
very
city.
hangry. We need to feed him next time.
Yeah, we did meet with city staff, and I asked the contractor flat out, I said, can we make September? This was several months ago, and he goes, I got a 90% shot depending on materials. And the material thing
Yeah.
has just gone bad on us.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's off.
Oh, he does.
It's off. I
That's why he's here.
listen. I'll share this Kleenex with you because I'm in the same boat. I don't even put completion dates on contracts anymore. They go, why? I said that's how long. So, I'm sorry. Are you done, Newton?
I am done.
Stan?
I said,
No, I sympathize with Newton too. Everybody's been wanting to see this, but this is a situation nobody could have foreseen. I mean, the whole supply chain is screwed up. My builder clients are having the same thing. They're making some material changes to try to keep their projects online, and they've got their customers going, I want to get into my house, and so here you go. So I get it. It would be nice if this were built yesterday. We'd all love that, especially you guys. But here we are. So that's it.
Tom?
No, nothing.
Bill?
The only comment I have is I know you guys look forward to coming to these meetings and being berated because of something you have no control over. And honestly, I sympathize with you. I'd love to see it done sooner, but it is what it is, and it's just a shame. But it'll get done and it'll be forgotten.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Maria?
I was just gonna say, basically to the board, that we need to keep in mind when we're thinking about this, that he said they're hoping to still get it finished before this extension deadline, but they're just trying to cover their butts right now so that they have the time that they need to get the materials that they need
Right.
to get it done. So, I appreciate that you guys are still gonna try to get it done ahead of time.
Yep, we will. Time
Yeah.
is money.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't wanna be the glass half empty, but
But-
I wouldn't be surprised if they come up here again, possibly for another extension, the way times are right now. They're going as fast as they can in the current situation, but they don't have the ability. So I'm just, I mean, you broke ground, you got walls up, it's taking place, it's taking shape. It's the furthest we ever got in that, in that area. So I'm pleased. So, thank you.
Thank
Do we have anyone from the public that would like to come up and say anything?
I've got another question for
Oh,
Tim if you,
okay.
if nobody
Tim?
else. Hey, Tim, could you come up one more time? So as I understood originally from last year, didn't we, when we did the extension, they have an administrative extension available if they got it dried in by September 20th, is that right?
They have, in the MDA, it states that if they have all their mechanical, electrical, and plumbing rough-in inspections completed, basically they could request a 6-month extension from council. We did that.
That was council?
Council only
Council,
then.
okay.
Okay.
So we did that basically because, you know, to take an MDA amendment through here, basically takes about 4 months to get to the point on there then. So that's why we kind of thought, okay, if they needed an extra month or so, then it could be a quick time to council then.
Right.
We looked at that in this case then, basically in order, the last council meeting that we could possibly get that on would be September 7th. So, you know, we still have that as a possible option, but basically we wanted to cover all our bases and bring this forward there. That's why we started this on that then.
So they came to us knowing that they weren't gonna, well, they aren't gonna make that deadline for the September 20th.
Yeah.
Not that for completion of the CO,
Right.
but basically there's still the outside chance on.
So we're
the
really not
NEP.
going past what they originally thought they would need anyway.
This would be, the 6 months would be the most that they could request from council.
Right.
At that point then, so 6 months is basically where we kind of put this request out to then.
Right,
So it's
March.
not beyond what was kind of contemplated in the last amendment then.
So does the 6-month council waiver go away,
That
or
would
is
go
that
away.
still
if-
available?
That would go away if this is approved, but we would, you know, this will go to council on first reading on August 17th.
Mhm.
And then basically on that September 7th meeting is either the second reading of this MDA amendment to give them to request the full to March 30 or March 21st will go, or this one-time 6-month extension. We'll have to see where we are with the construction build there. We just didn't want to get to September 7th and realize we couldn't meet that, and it's too late to do an MDA amendment then, at that point then.
Okay, all right. So there's no more 6 months after that. They have to come back in January for another year's extension,
Yes.
theoretically?
Theoretically, we'd be back here in January.
Okay, thanks.
Fingers crossed, no.
And when I talked about a potential, another extension, you really flinched there. You were like, oh, don't say that. And again, we know, and the bottom line is, the longer it takes, the more money they're losing, especially the contractor. It gets expensive with these delays and material costs going up. So time is money. Is anyone from the public that'd like to come up? Okay, I'd like to hear a motion for case number 21-400000001.
Make a motion to approve case number 21-40000.
Subject to the two conditions.
Oh,
from
okay,
staff.
I stand corrected. Same case, motion, subject to 2 conditions recommended by the city.
I was gonna say that.
Okay. All right.
Case, I recommend a motion to approve case number 21-400000001 with the added language for tearing down Dave's, as approved by the community development.
Do I hear a second?
And the parking.
And the
And the parking, yes.
The overflow parking.
Second.
I didn't, you said second, Bo?
Bo said second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Maria Mills Bennett,
Yes.
Bo Paving,
Yes.
Tom Jordan,
No.
Dan Schmidt,
Yes.
Newton White,
No.
John Junko.
Yes. And motion approved?
4-2.
Okay.
5-2, yeah.
All right, next case is number 21-50000001. Application is a subdivision plat of plans and Woodhaven subdivision phase 2.
Good evening, Penelope Cruz, Planning. The applicant is before you today requesting approval of Woodhaven Phase 2 plat and plans, which includes subdividing 209.9 acres into 229 single-family lots and 100 townhome lots, along with associated subdivision infrastructure. The subject property is vacant. It's been zoned PUD since 1997. The proposed subdivision plans are consistent with the comprehensive plan as well as the Woodhaven PUD Master Development Agreement and Conceptual Development Plan. The subdivision improvements include water sewer infrastructure, private gated local streets within subdivision, stormwater drainage improvements, common areas with tree and wetland conservation easements, as well as 50-foot buffers along Williamson and the western perimeter adjacent to the Cypress Head subdivision. Public facilities and services such as roads, public infrastructure, schools, and recreation facilities are currently available to serve the proposed development. With the request, there is one subdivision variance, same request that was made back in 2017 for Phase 1, which is to waive the requirement to provide a trash compactor or dumpsters to the townhome portion, basically requesting to be able to have individual curb pickups, just like the single-family portion. This requirement to have the compactor or the dumpsters was put in place in the LDC in 2011. There was some concern at that time that there might be a visual clutter or service issues. However, that's not turned out to be the case, and there's approval from our provider as well as our public works staff. It's worked just fine in Phase 1 as well as other communities. So they're basically asking for the same variance as Phase 1, and based on the variance criteria, staff is recommending approval of that. The Staff Development Review Committee has reviewed the project. There are still some remaining technical comments, so they will have to resubmit prior to this item being scheduled to council. We can't schedule this for council until everything's clean. There's no outstanding comments left. Staff is recommending approval of the plat and plans, subject to all the remaining technical comments being addressed before scheduling for city council and approval of the subdivision variance. I'm here to answer any questions, and the applicant's here as well.
Newton, I'm sticking with you all day.
Oh boy, I have no questions for Penelope on this.
Nothing.
Nothing? Tom?
No, thank you.
Very thorough, Penelope.
Good.
Yeah. My laptop froze up. The shaded, not the dark blue, but the light blue areas, what are those?
Are you talking about, can you see the cursor?
Yeah,
This
right
area
there,
here?
yeah, those
So
areas.
those are wetland areas as well. Like most of the green is either wetland or other
Mhm.
tree preservation. These are wetland areas as well, but they're also compensating storage areas. And the engineer is here to discuss that as well, but that's something that's been reviewed and approved by St. John's as well.
Okay, so it's currently designated a wetland?
They're part of the wetland system that's there, but they are being permitted to be used as part of the compensating storage that
Okay.
will filter through as well.
Okay, all right, that's all I have. Do you want the applicant to come up?
Sure.
Yeah, let's hear from the applicant.
Good evening, Dick Smith, ICI Homes, 2379 Bevel Road. Don't really have anything to add to what Penny presented. I do have with me tonight James Stowers, our Chief Development Officer, and I do have Bobby Ball and Luke Keelick from Zevco and Associates to answer any technical questions.
Newton, you have any questions?
I have some comments. In January 24th of 2019, ICI came here and asked for a variance for a certain fence up against I-95. And during that, David Haas was the presenter that night, and Mr. Haas agreed that ICI did not like the appearance of the fence and said that ICI was working with the Florida Department of Transportation to re-landscape that, along with the other variances that we granted that night, and was very adamant that ICI would do the right thing about that landscaping if FDOT did not act. I went back and I looked at the video of that meeting because that was my chief thing, was that stark, ugly white fence that was actually put on the ground before you had the variance to put it there. And as of a couple of days ago when I drove to Edgewater, the only landscaping in front of that fence is weeds. And I would like the applicant to address that because Mr. Haas did say that ICI would certainly be back before this planning commission to ask for more things as Woodhaven expands. So, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that we are continuing to have those same discussions with FDOT as recently as Monday of this week. We expect that with the improvements on the interchange, that landscaping will be happening. We continue to talk about that with them. As you know, they did remove a bunch of natural vegetation along that right-of-way that created that opening. And I'm sure you know also that we did facilitate quite a bit of landscaping where Williamson gets very close to I-95 there. And so we're asking and have received pretty favorable confirmation that they can help us with that.
Any idea of when it might be in place? Because they're in their last stages of finishing up with the 421 Dunlawton exchange, and Pioneer, of course, hasn't even started construction yet.
No, I don't have a specific time frame, but I can tell you that we are working diligently with them to have that included with our interchange improvements.
And one other issue we talked about at that meeting as well that I was reminded of by watching it is we gave up 6+ acres of conservation, and it was said that it would be added back into somewhere in the project, either in this phase, phase 2, or phase 3. Any idea on where that will be?
This was already taken care of in phase 1. So on the comprehensive plan, you can see there was only 3.16 acres of conservation here and 3.52 acres down here. But what ended up resulting in conservation easements was a little over 20 acres. So way over additional 6. That's just in phase 1. As you saw in the graphic before, phase 2 is majority conservation easements. There's 209.9 acres. It's really, at the end of the day, being developed at a density of 1.52 units per acre, and the rest of the balance of the site is pretty much in conservation easements.
And, well, that is, yeah, thank you. I was not aware of that, and that does bring me to another comment to make on this, is that a lot of what I hear in the community is people are talking about how close the houses are together, how much we're building, and I think a lot of people do not realize the entire plat, the entire plan, that the density actually only is 1.5 to 2 per acre for the entire thing, that all of that other land out there that's not where the houses are is leaving natural.
Yes, sir. And we're not even going to come close to the total entitlements, I believe, of units in the project because of that.
Yeah, and I do applaud that. I do
you.
like that. Thank you.
Stan?
Is that 14+ acres in pond, is that actually where that's gonna be, that rectangular?
That is an existing pond.
That's an existing
Yeah, that was a
pond,
pond that was
okay.
a borrow pit for I-95 that
Okay.
was on it when we purchased it.
Right, it just looks so different than all the other blue ones that are
It does, yes.
different.
Yeah.
All right.
Tom?
I agree with Newton. I remember that discussion. It was a vivid discussion. And I guess it just feels like ICI just basically is ignoring the biggest concern that we had from that evening, and snubbing our nose that you continue to come back to this board, you continue to come back to Port Orange, you're making good money in Port Orange, but the one thing that we kept raising, and it was pretty important to all of us that were up here,
It was.
and you're ignoring us.
To add to Tom and Newton's concerns, I also strongly feel the same way. I even recall that meeting where I specifically asked, when you reached out and said you made contact, I asked if it had to do with email, but it was a very vague answer regarding a phone call, but it had nothing in writing that had legitimacy as far as a documented two-way conversation in regards to this topic that we were concerned about. And I even strongly commented, and you could look back on the meetings, that I hope that this gets resolved before ICI comes back up here to make another request. So I am in strong feelings with my associates here in this matter. Well, I'm sorry.
No, I think it's all been said. Thank you.
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I do want to clarify that these are face-to-face meetings with DOT. They're not emails or phone requests. These are face-to-face meetings, and it's an issue that continues to be brought up in the context of the I-95 interchange improvements
Which I-95 interchange?
at Pioneer Trail. We're continuing to work on those improvements, and that'll.
When's the start date on that project?
Well, we're working on the funding and the final approvals, and we're hopeful that will be able to be announced here shortly.
Do you have a design now?
We do have a design.
Interesting to see it.
It's
So
it's
when would-
available, and I can provide it to you if that's important to you.
When would the landscape go into to being and to happening at the completion of the
Well,
Pioneer
our
Trail?
hope is that it would be funded, and then we could put it in once it's funded. It wouldn't have to go at the end of the project.
Because it's seemingly further enough away from Pioneer Trail that it would be a separate construction project. It wouldn't be.
The funding is the key component, and we're trying to get that as part of the funding.
It's not that far away from Pioneer Trail.
Do you have anybody else? Do we have any members from the public that would like
Thank
to
you.
speak? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Come on up.
Commissioners, Robert Reinhagen, 1425 Dexter Drive North. In reading through the staff comments, it indicates that the future land use for this phase is rural 0 to 2 units per acre, some conservation, and urban transition 2 to 4 units. And it's got something like 309 acres. But it never breaks down how many are 0 to 2 and how many are 2 to 4, so that you can calculate whether the 309 or whatever it is units actually will fit within this future land use designation quantity. And I'd like them to address that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to come and address that for him?
I think Penelope's got the answer.
Oh, yeah, there you go. She's ready. She had that paperwork jumping up.
So PUDs, Penelope Cruz Planning, PUDs are, and the specific one actually specifically states it in their PUD, you're allowed to get the gross density for the entire PUD, and you can spread it throughout the PUD. And that's standard throughout the state of Florida, standard throughout the city of Port Orange. It's written in their MDA. They're way below what's actually allowed in their MDA for this pod. But throughout the PUD, you take a gross density. The staff report states they have a gross number of units of 1,334 or 6. And so that's allowed to be spread throughout. They just can't exceed that throughout the PUD. That's addressed in their PUD.
Okay, well, thank you. Anybody else from the public like to come up? I'd like to hear a motion to approve case number 21-500000001.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. May I have a roll call, please?
Maria Melspinette,
Yes.
Bo Volkeny,
Yes.
Tom Jordan,
No.
Dan Schmidt,
Yes.
Newton White,
No.
John Junko,
No.
I see it split.
So it is,
3-3 fail.
yeah, okay, thank you. All right, next we have, number 7, commissioner comments. Newton, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I just want to thank again our community development staff for being on the ball and on top of this, and the clear presentations that we've had tonight. It's been a good day. It's been a good week. Been a good month.
Yeah, considering. Stan?
Not really, just, I guess kind of echoing what Newton was saying, especially in relation to the restaurant. I mean, they're in a tough spot. The good news is they're gonna take out those buildings for us, and there's actually construction coming up out of the ground, so they've got obviously a stake in the game right now. They're not gonna walk away from it. They're gonna try and get this thing done as fast as they can, so, they're keeping us in the loop, and I guess, that's what we can hope for right now with the market conditions. That's it.
Well said. Tom?
No, I'm set. Thank you very much.
Bo?
Yeah, I just want to remind the chairman that starting at the other end every time the flies up, so the good questions. So.
You got a good point. Valid point. I will resume my flexibility.
I'll help you, Mike.
Today was the only time I stayed with one side. I was just, I was in a
fire and brimstone.
yeah. I wasn't in the mood for being spontaneous today. Maria?
I'm good.
Yep, no, I'm good. As far as I have to say, I want to thank, I've been working very closely with people in the building department, and they have been outstanding and very patient, and in today's times, it is fantastic to work with a group of people working for the city that are able to understand the frustration and the situation, especially with current building constructions, and they're just a pleasure to work with, and I got to commend them. They've been doing fantastic from a personal experience. And again, based on what's brought through to this board, we may agree with some of these stuffs, but in consideration doing housekeeping, we like to have certain things that were promised to us resolved before we move on to future stuff. So with that being said, I expect people to come back here for initiating some more of these cases that we just reviewed. So, any staff comments? Nope.
He's got nothing
Public
to say.
comments? Okay, we are adjourning.